Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Large Scale Consolidated live show tonight. We have a heck of a great show for everybody tonight, and hope everybody's doing good. And how are you making out, Andrew?
Is today Friday or Saturday?
I think you already know the answer.
All right, it's Saturday. It's been Saturday all day. I'm doing
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah, I know you get confused a lot.
It happens in my old age.
But anyway, we have quite a show for you guys, so we're going to get started and recognize some people in the chat and see how many names I can wreck. It seems like everybody enjoys that, and then we'll bring up our guests. So it looks like first in is Stay Loaded. He's seems to be our number one entry in the chat. We have Ravenhawk 6910, and then we have Canadian Railroads. Hello. David Bush, he said he would be popping in and out. Bruce Morrow from New Jersey. I heard you missed the train there, Bruce.
Missed the train.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Missed the train. Or the train left them or something like that. But anyway, then we had Cody Reisinger. Now, see, Cody, you can't see I didn't mention you tonight, so I didn't forget you. Made sure that I left myself a note, like so my Alzheimer's wouldn't kick in. Then you got Jens Bang. Is he from Germany? I can't remember.
Jens Bang?
Yeah, I know we got.
He's from Idaho.
Idaho. Okay, I got him confused with Oliver Joe. All right, so you got Dunbar, and then we have John from the Pocono Mountain Garden Railroad Society, Paul Torrey, Kyle Kuiper, Darren Warren, Dunbar, and let's see, I'm still scrolling through Joseph Lipinski from another Garden Railroad Model Club. And then we have going through here Sean Fields and Dwayne's Fork and Spoon Railroad. I don't want to miss anybody. Gold Leaf Railroad, hello. And let's see if Sean gets it right. I think I got it right. Yeah, Carl says I finally got his name right. I think I said it right the last time too. So I guess practice makes perfect.
It does.
So the funny part is Andrew secretly doesn't know how to say it either. So don't let him fool you.
Well, no, I admit I said it wrong earlier today. It's because I have it ingrained in my brain saying it wrong for so long, it's just hard to correct.
But at any rate, let's bring up our guests,
Okay.
Nico and Vincent. And so these Nico and Vincent are our guests tonight. And he's got something special to show you, but you got to stay tuned until the end of the show to see what that is. But in the meantime,
you're going to make me wait all night.
Yeah, you're going to have to wait.
Man.
All good things come to those who wait. But in the meantime, Nico is going to show us how to do an install. Is that correct, Nico?
Yeah. So, I'm going to do an install with a Revo, but the basic concept is the same for most control systems. So we'll start there and just to get the concept going. Again, we can't go fully in depth with all the fine details of every system, but again, overview.
No, yeah, if you try and go in depth, you can go down all kinds of winding roads.
Yeah.
And this show ain't
I don't know if we'd want to make it that long.
No.
Sean had a hard time staying awake last show,
Well, moving the show to Saturdays should help me a lot because working, in the shop and then coming home on a Friday night and doing the show, you get pretty whooped.
I believe it.
All right, so we'll go ahead and move along, Nico. So what are we going to do first?
So I'll just start with some overview of, some basic tools. Again, I don't know how light we want to go or how deep we want to go with what we're doing here, but I'm going to switch cameras. There you go.
Ooh, got the top-down view.
Yep. So we're going to look at top-down view, which will allow us to see what I'm working on. So basically, one of the easiest things to look at is, or one of the best things to have in your toolbox is a voltmeter. Now, this is one of the ones you get from Harbor Freight. Basic, but does the job. Basically, one of the easiest things you're going to use this for is a continuity tester. So figuring out what wire is what when you're doing wiring, and just checking voltages. So that's one of the tools we're going to use tonight. Wire strippers. Those are always nice to use. This way you don't rip the wires apart and end up taking an 18 gauge wire down to, like a 22 gauge wire and frying things. Basic pair of scissors. We have, solder, obviously, and a soldering gun. Now, again, I have a soldering station, which makes it a little easier because I can control the heat of the gun. But even just a basic soldering gun that you buy at a hobby shop, because I solder every one of my joints. I don't trust, just twisting wires together. Then one of the other tools I like to use, especially when I'm doing wires, is one of these little guys. You can pick these up anywhere, but it's great when you're trying to attach two wires together. You can clip them, or if you just need to hold something while you're soldering it, anything in here, you could just grab it and hold it so you could solder it and work on it easily. So it's like a third hand. And these are fairly inexpensive. I mean, this one has a magnifying glass on it too for us older guys so we can see, but that always helps. So, and then I always use heat shrink tubing. You can get it in various sizes, shapes, and I heat shrink tube everything. I like everything to be as robust as possible, so we don't have an issue of anything coming apart or breaking. You always have a chance of something breaking, but I like to reduce the chance of anything happening. And then I also use these. These are just alligator clip wires. So when I'm, figuring out something, I have to clip from one to another to test something before I solder it for permanent installation. I always use these. So those are just some of the overview of the tools that we'll use tonight. And also for a soldering gun, I also have this, just tip cleaner. Instead of using a sponge, this is a dry cleaner. It's basically like steel wool. So you could just take the tip and stick it in there, and it cleans the tip off.
Huh, I've never seen one of those before. I kind of like that.
Yeah, these are great. With the sponge, you're always wetting it and you're making sure it's wet. And this is just always dry. It cleans it perfect all the time. And then when it gets full, you just pull this out and you dump out all the solder out. And then you stuff the stuff back in. And it's good to go again. It's actually in an old ashtray. That's the way they sell it. You could see the...
I was looking at that and I was kind of wondering for a moment. I thought maybe that's just to rest the soldering iron in there or something.
Well, yeah, but I've seen it as an ashtray too. So I was like, hey, this is
John's asking where you got that from, Nico.
I got that from an electrical supply house. That sells a lot of electronic components. If you search it online, just waterless soldering cleaner. I'll send you guys a link for the next show.
Okay.
Or we can post it somewhere on your YouTube channel or wherever you guys want to put it. So let's jump into the next thing. So basically what I did here, I made a faux engine. As you can see, this is a plexiglass chassis and two motor blocks. And I have it just roughly wired up. So basically, if you want to just jump into this or you want anything, want me to discuss anything else as we start going here?
Well, the first thing I would like to know is what motor blocks are we working with here?
So these are off of these are Aristocraft motor blocks. They were off of FA U25B RS3. Those old well, they're not the older style. They are the newer style.
Yeah, same ones they use on the egg liners that Bachman's making,
Correct.
though, right?
Yeah, the Bachmann replacement motor blocks. Yes, the same. The one and only.
Yeah, this way the viewers know exactly what they're looking at and what's being wired up here.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different motor blocks and there's so many different ways. I'm just trying to simplify this as easy. Like, again, this is an overview, not an in-depth installation. Every engine is slightly different. Even the versions of engines are different, so you take an earlier USA trains to a later USA trains, the circuit boards have changed as you're going through.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure.
So, the earlier ones have no problem being driven by pulse width or any of the other types of circuitry. The newer ones have more intelligence built in, if you will. So they don't like the pulse width. That's when you have to get into the linear drive, which the Revo puts out pulse width or linear, depending on which board you're using.
Okay. And the wiring harness that we're seeing is what was originally in the locomotive?
This is actually the wiring board out of an SD45.
Oh, okay.
So basically what I'm just showing here, this is going to be the quick overview of a plug and play. And then we'll dive into more of a wiring situation where you're opening up an engine and there's other things involved.
Right. So we'll pretend that we're working. We open up an Aristo SD45 then.
Yeah, that's fine. Like I said, the circuit board, whether it's plug and play and Aristo, you're going to have eventually you're going to see the same thing, a jumper board where the Revo plugs into. Other people have followed this board pattern, which Bachmann now does it a lot with their newer engines. Their DCC is in the same socket, so you could unplug the DCC and put in a Revo board. I mean, this is great if the industry standardized on something like this, and then everyone would just plug in no matter what you had, whether you're using Airwire, Revo, DCC. Everything would.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Play nice together.
By the sounds of it, the way they're hinting at the Dash 9 that they're going to be putting out, I kind of have a feeling they're going to have that socket in it as well when it comes out.
Yeah, I believe so. From what I've heard, it's going to be very similar. I mean, they fixed a couple of the other issues that it had with some of the wiring and other little things. I believe the drive wheels are going to have the D drive, so it's not a wheel on a pin, basically, a tapered shaft.
Ah, okay.
I heard that it's going to have the D wheels, which was what Aristocraft was actually going to. So before they went out of business, they were going to do that on the next run of Pacific, Malay, and Mikado, and Dash 9s, SD45s, everything they were continuing.
Oh, but interesting.
They never made it that far. So let's, again, I know there's 100 different ways people do this. I'm not a guru at this at all. I know enough to be dangerous. So basically, the way I wired this up, I have this is wired up just as if, obviously the board is not wired into this, but this is wired as if it would be a DC running engine. So if I put power to the track, you'll see the wheels start moving, and you can hear it running. So basically, when you do a basic installation or a plug and play installation, they all have this jumper board. So what you do is you pull this out, if you can see that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then you would take your Revo board or whatever DCC board you're using. Again, there are some DCC board, like QSI used to make one that plugged right into your Aristo socket. And all the new Bachmann engines, like I said, have this exact pattern in it. So you plug it in. So you would just line up your pins. This is one mistake people make a lot. I'm going to show this. If you go one over this way or one over this way, you're frying the board.
That ain't good.
Yeah, so you want to make sure this is directly into the sockets, and then that pushes straight in. And then, so basically, that is the whole installation with a Revo in a plug and play engine. And then you have to plug in. So from here, you would have, this isn't this is an older board, but you would plug in your speaker into the socket for the speaker, which is here. And then if you wanted to wire the smoke board in, you would have your 6-pin jumper out of here, and you would wire that up to the smoke board to control the smoke unit.
Now, something I'm pretty sure, if someone's putting, something other than Revo in a plug and play socket, Aristo style.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I know Robbie sells a couple different adapters, I think, to be able to just plug an air wire and other things right into that, doesn't he? At RLD.
Yeah, he has a couple adapter boards. I believe he even has one wired up directly for the USA trains.
Oh, okay.
So you could take the Revo board and it's all wired and you just drop it in and wire it. That's great for people that don't want to get into the wiring of it, but then you got to spend a little bit more money. So it's,
Yeah, convenience usually does cost a little bit more.
Exactly. I kind of know how to wire these. So to me, it's not worth the money to do it because I stock everything here. Behind me is a bunch of drawers that I stock all my wires and connectors and, any parts I need to do that kind of stuff. So I mean, basically that is a plug and play unless you want me to get into wiring a smoke board, but,
I don't know how much time you think we'll have wrapped up in looking at the smoke board.
a couple minutes, I can show you really quick.
Yeah, why not?
One
Yeah.
second. I just had to reach behind me here. So, smoke board basically is this unit here. If you grab a smoke unit. So the smoke board comes with. So it's funny, think people don't realize this, but basically this is an on and off switch. So you can use this to toggle on lights or toggle on anything you want. Like if you wanted alternating ditch lights and you want to wire that circuit up to turn it on and off, you could use this because it's just a switch that you can control from your controller. That's fine. So basically, when you open up an engine, there's a plug coming directly from the power going into your smoke unit. So it'll be coming from this board controlled.
Okay.
So basically all you do is you unplug that wire from the smoke unit and you plug that into the board. So that's your power into the board. That just goes in there, right? Obviously I'm using its own wire to plug into to show here, but because these can control 2 smoke units. For like the E8 had 2 smoke units. And then you would take your other end and you plug that into the smoke unit. So that's your pass-through. So power coming in on this side, power going out and going into your smoke unit.
Nice.
Now, the only other thing you have here is the control wires. These control wires, most people wire it to number 6 on a Revo. Again, I'm doing Nico Guru, really.
I was wondering when you were going to catch that.
So basically you have 6 wires here and then the common, which is the black wire. So the brown wire goes to the white wire on the board. So sorry, I got too many wires here. So you have the white wire coming from the smoke board and the black wire. These are the on and off switch. So the black wire goes to the black wire, the brown wire goes to the white wire. You plug that into the socket on the Revo board here, the small one. And then when you latch number 6, that tells that circuit board to turn on or turn off, act as a switch.
Okay. Now, does this also able to do a fan-driven smoke unit, or?
Yeah, that's what this is. This is actually out of an SD45.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't quite sure. Okay, I see it now. Yeah, I couldn't see it.
We did have one question there, Nico. I don't know if you see it on your screen or not.
So the -9 SD5 would need the speaker wire that came with the engine plugged in, or is it already plugged in since it was added with the speaker when made? Basically, you have to plug in the wire from the Revo board into the circuit board. That's one thing people usually miss, and I get calls on that all the time. I put in my thing and I have no sound. I'm like, well, first did you do the number one to make sure the sound is on? And they're like, yeah, that didn't work. And then usually they think that the plug and play socket plugs in the speaker, but it does not. You need to run the wire from the circuit board, from the Revo board or whatever, unit you're running into the board for the SD45, RS3, whatever plug and play board you're using.
Okay.
So actually, I have a brand new one here. I'll show you the wire that comes with it. Give me 1 second. So it comes, when you get a Revo, it comes with a bunch of cables.
Oh, I have a whole box full of those cables.
So this wire here has a 3-pin plug on one end, which is, sorry, trying to find the right spot here. There you go. 3-pin, which is on this end, and a tiny 2-pin, which is on this end. The 3-pin goes into the main board on the circuit, on a circuit board that's in the engine. That plugs into there, and then the other wire plugs into the Revo board. So, and that's how it gets the sound into the speaker. If that makes sense, I hope I answered your question.
I think it did.
Okay. So basically that's the smoke unit in a nutshell. It's very simple. It's plug and play. And it's basically just works as a switch. So you're putting power in from one end. That's where you're unplugging it from the smoke board and plugging into it. And then you're passing it out on the other side. And that goes into the smoke unit. And then it allows it to act as a switch. So when you push your number 6 button, it's telling the smoke board to turn on. It opens that switch or closes that switch and allows the power to pass through. So again, that is as simple as it gets when you get a plug and play engine and you have a plug and play board. Of course, we have a lot of ones that don't. How many buttons can you use to control things? Actually, you could use 1 through 6, but so if you're using the, I saw Kyle's question, you can use 1 through 6, but it depends on, the Revo itself uses 1, 2, 3, and sometimes 4 for the sounds. 1 is sound on and off. 2 is the bell. 3 is the a programmed crossing whistle usually, or crossing horn. And then 4, sometimes you can toot your own horn, if you will. Can you have more than one smoke board in a locomotive? Yeah. So I mean, this one will handle 2 smoke units, the one that comes with it. And I mean, if you actually just daisy chain them, you can control as many as you want, because it's just a power in, power out. You know what I mean? You could hook 3 of those smoke boards to number 6 and turn on, however many smoke units you want to turn on.
I actually, a friend of mine, I'm not quite sure how many of those he used, but he used multiple smoke boards and a USA GG1 to actually work the pantographs up and down on it.
Yeah, well, basically, it's just a switch, so you can use it to turn anything on and off, which some people don't, realize that you can use to do that kind of stuff. So, I mean, you could use it, like I said, number 5 is open, so you could wire another smoke board to number 5 and turn on your ditch lights. Or, or another set of lighting if you wanted to, or whatever makes you happy kind of thing.
Okay. That's good stuff to know.
Yeah. So again, this was a pretty straightforward plug and play. You drop the board right in, you're done. But most of us, especially if you're buying, I don't want to say USA Trains does not have any plug and play capabilities. Basically, when you get into a USA Trains, This is from an older. This is, I believe, from an NW2. So you had this is the smoke control board. As you can see, there are two older smoke units here. Has a basic board here, and then you have switches that turn on lights and whatever whatever they have, light, smoke, sound, and then motors. Right, you can turn on and off the motors. So you can wire all this in to work with a Revo board or whatever board you want. Sometimes it's worth it to wire it in. Sometimes it's worth it just to take it all out and wire it yourself. I mean, some of the old bulbs are incandescent. People like to go to LEDs. So, you could wire as many different ways as you like. And again, this is like an overview. We could spend a whole segment on just wiring up LEDs.
Oh yeah, I get it.
So again, this is the smoke board, which you can control this exactly the same way as I was showing you before. And basically you have the power input going into your smoke board. You're just cutting in between that and your smoke units and tying that off to the smoke board so you can control the power going to your smoke units.
Okay.
So in this instance, I'm going to say, you know what, this is not basically, there's not really anything here I want to keep. I'm going to tie into the smoke board later, but, maybe I'll tie into a different smoke board. And I don't care, at this point, when you're putting in a Revo, you don't care about turning on the lights, or when you're putting in a control system, you don't care about turning on the lights, the motor, and everything. That's basically what the control system is doing for you.
Right.
So you don't need to turn the motor off to have the engine sitting on the track and running another train if you were running pure DC. So let's pretend we're gutting it. So this way it's a little deeper dive.
Right. Okay.
Whatever it is, Rail Pro, not Rail Pro, Revo. Again, there's a reason for every control system that's out there, and there's a price point for every control system that's out there. Whether it's there's some really basic ones that use, like, and even Pico has one. It's just a key fob. You hold the button up and it goes forward. You hold the button down and it slows down. And I think it's got a stop button, which is very basic. And then you could get all the way up to, I think Zemo is probably one of the top of the line ones. Over $1,000 for one of their systems. So, I mean, there's a range and there's a reason for the range. One of the reasons I like the Revo, to me, it does everything I need and I don't want any more. It has the bell, the whistle, the sound. I could do, if I really want to get to be a little bit more into the sound, I could buy a Phoenix and get, a better sound. But for me, the sound that the Revo has is fine. I'm happy with it. It does what I need it to do, and it's simple, and it's not overcomplicated. And like I said, I've talked to people, and we were talking about this earlier today. That it's great. You have all these options, and you can control CV values, but then people get so hung up in it that they just it's too much. So that's why I use the Revo personally, because it does what I need it to do. I could hand it to my kids when they were younger and tell them push this button, push that button, and they can figure out easily how to control the train. And it was easy enough for me to run and wire, and it does what I need it to do. So I was happy with it. Guys, because I noticed somebody in there said something about Rail Pro. I don't know.
Yeah, so Revo is basically easy to use then.
Well, that's the other thing too. Like, people are like, "Oh, the sound on the Revo." Well, look at it this way. I mean, the sound on the Revo is free. You know what I mean? Originally, the Revo didn't come with sound, and I think when they added the sound, it went up like $5. So to me, I look at it as it's free sound, and if I do want a better sound, I'll buy a Phoenix sound system or another sound system to do what I need it to do. So,
okay. Um, John's asking, what do you need to make a smoke unit with fan work with chuff off of a steam engine?
Right now, there is, I mean, again, the DCC stuff and some of the more expensive systems will allow you to do that. I know a lot of DCC systems have that where you can control different things. You know what I mean? But the Revo does not have that option. And there was a guy making a circuit board that could control that portion of the smoke unit. And as far as I know, he never finished it and came out with it or anything like that. So until somebody comes out with that file or that Revo sounds terrible. Okay.
Well, you're going to have your different types of fans out there. So,
yeah, I got
it's like having a Ford show and you got a Chevy guy saying Ford sucks. So, but at any rate, so we'll keep going.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Like I said, everybody's got their opinion. So,
yeah.
So we'll keep going. So basically, I wired this up as if it's a straight wire between the two engines. But basically, when you start stripping out wires, you're going to start figuring out, once you take the board out, you're going to have a lot of wires hanging there. And people get overwhelmed just with wires and, all right, now what goes to what? And how do I figure out where this goes? That's where the voltmeter comes in.
Okay, that's cool.
So I don't know if you can see that, right? So when you have contact closure, I can see when wires are touching, obviously, right? So I'm touching the two probes together.
All right. So basically, you're just doing an ohms test.
Right. So basically what I can do is I can touch one of the wheels and touch one of the wires and figure out which wire goes to that wheel. Right? I'm probably not grabbing the wire good enough here. Hold on. Sorry.
You're all right. Take your time.
Yep. So eventually one of these is going to be from the wheels and one of them is going to be from the motor. So you basically go through until you find the right one, right?
Yeah.
So now I know the red wire is this wheel. So now I know that these are my power inputs and these are my motors. So if I take these and attach it straight to my power supply, this motor is going to go. So I know my yellow and blue is the motor and red and black is power. So obviously in the back, you're going to have the same situation, or front. We don't have a front or back to this engine, so it doesn't really matter. This is a B.
Carrie, not to interrupt you, but Carrie's asking what setting do you have your multimeter turned on to? I'm guessing you have.
This is it's ohms right now, right? Correct, because I'm just doing for conductivity, and I have it set to 20K. So again, it's just all I care about. I'm not really measuring the resistance. All I care about is finding what wire is what wire. So I know now that that wire is so I know the red and black are the wheels or the power pickup, and I know the blue and yellow are the motors. So in a USA Trains, usually when you have the wires coming up, they use a plug like this on all their motors and everything. The easiest way to tell which one is which on a USA Trains, you'll have two single wires coming into a plug, and that's the motor. And then on the power side, because they use the side frames as well as pickups inside the motor block, you'll have two red wires and two black wires coming up into the wire harness. So those are your power pickups, and the single wires going into the plug are your motors, if that makes sense. So now if you look at the motor blocks, they're facing in different directions. One's facing this way and one's facing that way. So obviously, since I said that, I believe I said the red wire was the front here.
Yes.
Right. So now if I go to the back,
should be the
right? A lot of people go, oh, it's going to be the red wire. Well, it's not the red wire. It's the black wire because the whole motor block's reversed. They didn't make different motor blocks for front and rear. It's the same motor block, just in reverse. So basically what I got to do is take my red wire from the front and my black wire.
Always the red wire.
So it's kind of contradicting because, you know, you got red to black instead of red to red and black to black. But it's just because one motor block is a reverse of the other.
No, it actually makes sense to me.
Yeah. So we could twist those together. We know what that is. So most of these systems, like the Revo, comes with, you know, this little jumper board. So when you, sorry,
John, I can tell you that USA Trains does not have a wiring diagram for their locomotives. They never have, and they probably never will. And the wiring's never the same, even in the same batch of locomotives they produced, it seems.
I have a wiring diagram for him, Sean. It's called my multimeter.
Yeah. Basically, everyone is figure it out, open it up, and start figuring it out.
Yep, there you go. And that's why Nico is showing you how to do this with a voltmeter.
Yeah. I just said, basically, when you start from the motor blocks, the one with 4 wires coming into it is the power, and the one with 2 wires is the motor. So coming out of the motor block, you always know that the ones with the 4 wires, because it's picking up from the side frames as well as the internal motor block. That's why there's 4 wires. Makes it a little easier. So basically, excuse me, the Revo board, or whatever board, in this case, the Revo board has a little plug for non-plug and play engines. So you can basically just plug this in. Now, one thing that they do, this is dangling in the back, and I've seen this a ton of times where I've opened up a locomotive somebody else did, and this is just flopping in the breeze back here. Or they'll stick, you know, this foam underneath, and it's just kind of wedged in there. You know, I don't like to do that. So what I do is I buy a 10-pin connector here. These you could buy, it's just a 10-pin header.
Okay.
And that plugs right into the 10 pins on the back of the Revo board.
Now, where do you find those at, Nico?
10-pin header, any electrical supply house.
Oh, yeah?
So now when I stick this down, I have a nice firm board held down. I can unplug it and plug it back in. It's not floating in the back and, you know, putting all that stress on the front wires. So now it's nice and secure when I double stick tape this down to the chassis of the engine. You know, I know that, like you said, Robbie makes that board, and so does, I think Revo makes a board that you could just make a plug-in socket, and it does hold both sides, which is really nice. Yeah. But again, it's an added expense. So I buy these headers in a bag of 100 for like $5. And then I just chop off the bottom of the header and glue it to a piece of styrene. And then it gives me a little place to mount everything. So everything's stable.
My question I have might be a little bit out of order, but do you ever worry about putting any type of like fuse protection or anything in between the board and the power pickups?
Not anymore.
No? Okay.
Since the last couple revisions of the Revo, they've added more fuses to it, which protects it on both ends. So you basically have protection going in and out, and I stock the fuses for repairs myself, and I just replace the fuses.
Train Brothers Railway is asking, will the sounds be good for a USA Trains GP30? So I'm thinking he's asking, are they sound specific?
They have 5 diesels now, and I believe 5 steam engines. Some of them are generic. You know, they don't call out what name they are. I mean, we're talking about the Revo specifically, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But again, you know, the sound in here is free. And if you want something specific, you could go and get a Dali or a Phoenix sound system and get a specific engine. So, it depends what you want to do. I know even some of the other control systems, that use DCC, you get to control, you still have to buy a decoder on top of the price of the sound, on top of the price of the control board to control the sound that you want.
Correct.
So, I mean, everybody's into different things. Some people are really into the sound. Some people are really into the prototypical running. I was talking to a guy and he was like, oh, no, the sound has to have the right sound. And and then I was talking to him. He started showing me pictures of his layout. And, his layout is on concrete roadbed. And, you know what I mean? And it's really not prototypical the way he's run. But the sound was the important thing to him. So, everybody has their own thing and their own issues. And like I said, some people are going to love Revo. Some people are going to want to spend a little more money and go, Rail Pro or Zemo or, whatever other control system they like. But it's what fits your need and what you can afford.
Oh,
what it
absolutely.
basically comes down to.
Right. And for me, sometimes even the comfortability of how I like using it, or how I get used to using something, or how easy something is to use.
Right. Again, like I said, a lot of people I talk to, they're like, oh, I have DCC, I can do this, I could do that, I could do this. And then in the same breath, the next thing they're complaining about is how, convoluted DCC is. And there's so many things to figure out and control because you can control so much.
Right.
It's too much for some people because they don't want that. Basically, they want to be able to put their train on the track and run it.
Yep.
So I'm going to, I put some double-sided tape on here before the show. So I'm going to stick this down so it doesn't move around on me while I'm wiring and doing all that. So I just usually put one piece on here and then one piece on the back. Sorry, I keep forgetting about the camera. Of course, you got to love this double-sided tape that you can't get. Don't fall asleep on me, Sean.
I don't know.
Okay.
Somebody's asking if there's any stock for Revo in the UK.
Any what?
Any Revo in stock in the UK? Matt Evo's asking that.
I have no clue where. I mean, I know Robbie will ship to the UK, so I mean, you can get it here and have it shipped there.
All right, there you go, Matt. So RLD Hobbies, if you're interested, will ship to the UK.
I mean, I'm sure any of the other people that sell it, at one point I was a dealer for the Revo and I would have shipped to the UK myself, but so, all right. So basically let's continue on. Otherwise the show will turn into 4 hours. So I have my inputs here and this is clearly marked input on this side. I know you can't see it, but let me see if I could bring another board closer. So you could see it. Sorry, stuck in the bag. Really?
Paul Torrey is asking, will you be discussing the difference between wiring for DC and for battery? Now, this is only going to be to show how to install.
Well, he's asking, between track power and battery is what he's asking.
I'm going to get into that.
Yeah. It's actually not super in depth.
Like I said, I'm trying to keep it very simple. So, so everybody can, either get something out of this. Again, I know, 900 people will do it 900 different ways.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make everybody happy, and I'm not going to try.
You're not? What about me? I want to be happy.
I'll leave that one alone.
Probably best.
Yeah. You got 2 E8s. You should be happy.
That I do. And no, you can't have them to make a B unit.
Why not?
Well, my question is, have you done anything with them yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hauled them all the way up to run at an open house thing that Nico was having the one time with the club he belonged to.
Our own club members didn't show up, but you drove up from Ohio.
Well, you know, sometimes you got to get out and run some trains.
Now I'm having a problem getting this in here. So, of course, never fails. It's always something. Why is this not going in? So basically, I'm just getting the wires in here if they would cooperate, but they're not. Sometimes they slide right in and it's not a problem. Other times, the connector just does not want to cooperate. Sorry, give me a second. Like I said, again, I know people would do this 100 different ways, and RailPro's better than Revo, and AirWire's better than RailPro, and everybody's got their opinions. But
I know there's one guy in the chat that he's all about the original train engineer.
yeah, hey,
Wow.
you know, it works.
That's old.
And I was telling you guys, I think the last time, and there's a guy that I install Lionel train control in G scale. So he's putting AC to the track, and he's using the Lionel command control. So I mean, you know, there's things that work for people, and they like it, and it works for them. And that's, again, you know, the hobby's not about, you know, if you want to get into my team's better than your team, go watch football.
Yeah.
You know, I don't work for Revo. I don't work for AirWire. I don't work for any of these companies. I don't know why this is giving me such a problem tonight. But
it's the way it works, you know.
Yeah. I said normally they slide right in. It's not a problem. This one is not going in worth a darn tonight. Just trying to get this in so we can move on here, but it's not playing nice. See if that took. Again, I always like to give the wires a little tug, make sure they're not coming out like that just did. Football is over, so setting for fighting over. Yeah, right. We need something to argue about. It's got to be train controllers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know why these are not sliding in tonight. It's because I'm on the show here. Sorry about that, guys.
You know, we can't see your face right now, but you have Vincent. He's got a towel. He keeps wiping the sweat off your forehead, right? Because you're under so much pressure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's anybody that wants to do these shows, you know, try and do this and then talk to us.
Yeah, it's not exactly easy doing a show. That's for sure.
Right. So those are the input wires. So again, the same is for the motor wires. Obviously, if I hook up yellow to yellow and blue to blue, my engine's going to try and pull itself apart. John's falling asleep over there. Sorry, John.
Either that or he passed out on the Z key.
On the Z key. Brands of trains. I can't keep up with the chat there. So like I said, if anybody has questions you guys want to address. So again, same thing, yellow to blue and blue to yellow because it's reversed. And now we're going to connect that up to the motor side. Hopefully these go in easier. Just make sure that's open. Of course, this one slid right in. Good. I hope I'm not boring anybody. If somebody wants me to switch gears on something.
No, I'm just trying to keep a lookout on the chat, see if there's any questions.
What?
John said, nope, that's a short circuit. Disease.
Oh. I thought we put you to sleep, John. Sorry. I should have stripped the wire a little longer, maybe.
I know a couple of them that I had done before. Sometimes you end up with a couple of wires you have to hook in, and trying to twist a couple of them together and shove them in that small opening they have just doesn't work. I've started just soldering them all to a short lead, so I only have one wire to put in.
Yeah, well, then sometimes you have the opposite problem. The wire's not big enough, and then it just pulls out. So, I mean, in essence, that's the basis of the installation. You have power in and power out. Power in going into the board, and then power out going back to the motor blocks. So whatever control system you're using is basically controlling, the power going on. So for the Revo, we have a trigger button, or linking button, I should say, and that just plugs into the linking button spot. So we're going to get this running here in a second.
Matt was asking, will the new Dash 9 have a similar internals?
It will have a plug and play, yes.
Okay.
I mean, from what I've heard and talked to people, that's what they're saying. I do not work for Bachmann, so I cannot answer that to a 100%. So now we're going to, with the Revo, you link to the control board, which we're going to do now, which usually just takes us a couple seconds here. We're going to put power. So we're putting full power to the track. We're going to press a button, and nothing's happening. Why is nothing happening? Do I have power here?
You should have power.
Just no magic smoke.
No, we don't want no magic smoke. But we don't want any issues either. Just want to make sure I got everything hooked up here. Just double check. Got power. So maybe one of my wires is loose because I was struggling over there. Oh, there we go. What, I didn't turn it up?
I don't know. I just turned it down and back up, and it started going.
Okay. So now you can see the red lights blinking. We're going to hit link. We passed. So now we have control of the engine. So now if I start ramping up, motors start going.
You got them going in the same direction?
What?
Are they going in the same direction, or do you have them propped up?
They're on rollers.
Ah, okay. I couldn't pick that up the direction we were looking at. I'm like, hey, we're not going anywhere.
Well, it would leave the screen if we.
Oh, no, that makes perfect sense now that you say it.
So the other thing with the Revo, I'm not going to get into the smoke board with this one, but you could plug in the sound. So this is a hardwired speaker. So obviously I soldered the wire straight to the speaker. And I know people want to hear sound, so. Uh-oh. Oh, it just
Uh-oh.
That's the SV33.
turn the sound down a little bit there. Right? Horn. So this one is one where you press the 4 and you could do the individual and you have the bell. and I can turn the sound on and off with one. So, like I said, this for me is more than I need, more than enough, and I'm happy with it. So that's the basic, you plug in the speaker, you plug in the trigger, and you're hooked up. Now, the other thing, I'm going to shut the power down here now. A lot of people like running battery. So basically, in a battery situation, you don't need these wires coming from the motor blocks. You could basically just unplug those, not use the motor blocks to pick up power because you're going to use a battery. So you would run your wire from here out the back of the engine and plug in your battery, and that's your input source. Or if you put the battery straight inside the engine, then your positive and negative leads go right here, and you could put an on-off switch in line, and it probably a charging port too. What I get a lot of people asking me for, they want the ability to run either or. So a lot of times what I do is I wire up double pole, double throw switch, such as this. So flip it one way in your battery, and the other way in your track.
John's asking, with the new sounds for the horn, is it individual or are we still locked into the basic crossing horn?
Number 3 is the crossing horn. So here, I'll show you again. I gotta wait for it to start up. So now if I press, I'm pressing number 4. I can make it go as much as I want. Then if I
you
press
hold it in, it'll keep going.
Sorry?
I said if you hold in the 4, it'll keep blowing the horn continuously.
I don't know. Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
And then if you press 3, it plays the crossing. So
I believe that's only for the SD33 Eco sound and the new Jeep sound.
yeah, that's not on all the sounds. That's only on the last 2 or 3 sounds that they did. So back to the battery. So some people like to have battery or track. Depending on where they're running, they want to be able to go and run either track or battery. The last few runs of Aristocraft had that switch in there, and they had the MU plug sticking out the back. So you could actually just switch it, track or battery. A lot of people, when I do a USA or even other engines, they want to have the ability to run both. So I put in this double pole, double throw switch. One of the wires has a battery plug on it. So this is usually a standard battery plug. And then you have your other wires. So, do you want me to get in depth on how to wire this, or do you just want me to plug it in and...
Can you give a little bit of explanation to them?
Yeah.
To the viewers, how it works?
So I'm gonna defer to a drawing because I can show it a little better. Grab a piece of paper here. So basically you have your switch with a toggle on it, and you're going to have inputs, right? When I flip this switch this way, it's going to tie this and this together. So you're going to tie this, and this together. If I flip the switch this way, I'm going to tie this and this together. Right? These are my contacts on the back of the switch. So basically this is going to be, these two are going to be your outputs to go to whatever you want to hook to. In this case, we have the Revo board, right? These are going to be your inputs. So this could be the track power, right? So these come from your wheels, your track. And then this could be your battery. So now if I throw the switch this direction, this is going to make these contact, your positive and negative. Let's just say it like that, right? This is going to contact these two positives and these two negatives. So I'll show it with the marker here. It's going to contact here and here. So your power is coming from your track through and back to your Revo board.
Frank's got a good, not to interrupt you, but Frank's got a good question. He wants to know, how does he identify which board has the additional fuses in it?
They're very tiny fuses.
Oh, those are surface mounts, aren't they?
Yeah, they're very tiny surface mount fuses. So let me show you one if I can.
So you actually have the equipment to solder the surface mount there?
Yeah, it's me.
Oh, okay.
It's they're not fun. They're not easy. Yeah, I'll show you on this here. So if you look right, I don't know if it's focused or not here. Right there. See at the end of the, let me find something finer to point with. Right here. That little white dot is the surface mount fuse.
Oh, good grief. How the heck do you replace that?
Yes. So there's two of them on the bottom, and then there is one new one that they just added. Hold on, I'm trying to find it. Up here. So testing those, again, the continuity meter, you could test if your fuse is blue. You know, with your ohm meter. So if I take this and I want to see if my fuse blew, I could put it on each side of the fuse. Hold on. And of course, I'm not getting good continuity here. And there, the words are in the way here. There we go.
So you're actually checking it right on the Revo board?
Yep. And then you see there it goes to 0. So that fuse is good, obviously. But if the fuse is blown, you would get, you know, it would just show 1 like it does when the wires aren't touching, obviously. So, and then I buy the fuses again in bulk and just replace them when they blow.
So when I need fuses replaced, I can just send them to you then?
Yeah.
Sweet.
So, anybody have any questions on the wiring?
Frank's wondering, how does he purchase the right board?
The right board.
All the new boards have anything that's out now. If you're buying a new board, has the extra fuses on it.
And what year did they come out with that? Because maybe somebody's got some old stock that he doesn't. I guess he's trying to figure out if somebody's got old stock or new stock.
Everything I've been buying lately has the new. There is no. I mean, the old stock ran out. I'm trying to think when I tried to order a bunch and I couldn't find any.
Yeah, that was probably a little over a year ago, because I think I ran into the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So everything from over a year ago is new.
All right, that's good to know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when I get these boards in, every time I get a new one in, I go over it and look to see if they changed anything. Or again, I'm not an electrical engineer, so I don't know, you know, everything, but there's some things I just notice right off the bat what happens. You know,
and somebody was asking what kind of power track supplies do you recommend?
So there are some that put out dirty DC, and there's some that put out clean DC. I don't want to get into brands. You know, I don't want to step.
Yeah.
I don't want to step on anybody's toes and things like that.
Okay, I understand.
You want a good DC power supply. I personally use, you know, I had Aristocrats out of business, so I could talk about them freely. I had 2 of the Aristocrat Elite power supplies. Both of them, actually, one blew up on me, and Aristocrat was still in business. They gave me a new one, and then the other 2 I had blew up on me eventually. They just went up in smoke.
Wow.
So I switched over to the Meanwell power supplies. You could buy them online. They're 24 volts, 15 amps. You could buy them in 10 amps. You got to be careful though, because there is no protection between you and a track. Like it will just keep putting out voltage. It don't care.
What I did on mine, Nico, is I just bought automotive fuse holders, and I have 10 amp fuses I put between the transformer and the track.
Exactly. I was going to get to that.
Yeah.
Or you could buy poly fuses.
That poly fuses are a lot better because you don't got to replace them.
Right.
Well, maybe after a million times, maybe, but
yeah. So a poly fuse is better because it will just start clicking until you fix the problem. But like I said, the Elite power supply had that protection in it, whereas the Meanwhile power supply didn't care. Like, it's going to weld whatever it wants to weld without a fuse in line. So yes, an automotive fuse is good to put in line, or a poly fuse, 10, 15 amp fuse, just to stop it from frying anything, damaging anything else.
Okay.
These little tiny fuses are 5 amp fuses on the boards.
All right. And my question is, if I'm watching this, okay, now that we put this board together, we got our switch in and all that fun stuff. So are these files already in Revo, or how do you pick and choose the file that you want for your specific engine? Let's say you got a diesel.
You can order it diesel or steam.
Okay.
And then you can change it if you buy the USB programmer. It's I believe it's like $80.
And it's like 80, 90, I think, something like that.
Yeah, and then you can change sounds on the Revos. So, like when I call up and I order my Revo from whoever I buy them from, I usually tell them, give me whatever you have more of, because I don't care. I'll reprogram it. But you can order diesel or steam. Or, if you know somebody that has it, they can. I just went over a friend's house and we changed like 4 of his locomotives. I brought my laptop over and we just did it. It takes 2 seconds to change the sound on them. It's not hard. On the other systems, I'm not 100% sure. Some of them, you need an interface cable. With this one, it's wireless. You could basically link to the board.
Really?
Yeah. And then you can change the sound file.
Oh, that's cool. So you don't even have to plug into it to change
Right.
the sound.
Yeah, you don't need any external plugs. You basically hold the trigger button down longer than you would for it to link. It changes, the light goes from blinking fast to blinking slow, and then you use your laptop and you just download and it comes up, and then it just downloads a new sound, and then when it's finished, you're done.
All right. Well, that seems easy enough.
So, yeah, I don't know. Again, this is basically, a wire harness that I just did to show for the show. Battery. This would be, this one would go to the Revo board, and then this would go to your track power. So then you could run anywhere, anytime you want.
Huh.
Some people put the battery internally. I kind of prefer to have it externally because then you don't need a battery for every locomotive. But, to each their own again.
Yeah. I guess there's a couple different ways to look at it. I mean, if you put a battery in a car, then you're basically using the same car behind each locomotive. So,
well, not necessarily. I mean, you could put a couple holes through the bottom of a couple different cars and change them out if you want.
Oh,
or if you have a hopper car or a covered gondola, that's easy enough to use.
right.
I mean, it depends on what you're doing. Again,
So, what gauge wire do you use? Mikey's asking.
Most of this is probably like 18, 22 gauge. somewhere in there.
All right.
I was lucky, and I used to get this wire for free, this twisted wire. So I have a bag of it, and it works great.
And as far as battery power, I'm guess. I mean, what types of batteries can this thing handle?
It's realistically it's the voltage.
Correct. Yes, that's
So,
what I meant. Voltage wise.
You want to be between 14 and 24.
Okay.
And I know it depends a little bit too on which system you're using. I think some of them don't handle up to 24, do they?
No, I mean, again, I'm talking about the Revo here, but yeah, I mean, some of them don't, some of them do.
All
So
right.
we'll switch back here. You know, some of them can handle higher voltage than other ones. Actually, I believe the original Revo boards didn't even go. The Aristocraft Revo boards didn't go up to 24 volts. They would pop at 24.
Oh.
Oh.
And then, but their power supplies went up to 24 volts. So
That makes a lot of sense, right?
yeah, somebody missed the memo.
All right. And so if we're kind of like through that, did you want to announce what your special announcement?
Well, I'll let Vinny go first here. He got his
Okay.
his little project done. So
Great.
you guys.
Oh yeah. Cool.
If you guys watched the last show, you might have remembered I talked about my Fred that I was making for G-Scale. So I've gotten this one done. This one only works with the USA Trains and Aristocraft couplers. I'm working on making one that works with KD and AML right now. So
Okay.
here it is. It's basically just a little box, and then it has this piece here, which actually sits into the coupler, if it'll cooperate here, like that. And then I have it wired up to a battery here, and you can turn it on, and it'll actually
Oh, very
Wow.
nice. It sounded like it
Now,
had a pretty nice affirmative snap when it clipped onto the coupler. It doesn't sound like it's
Yeah.
going to go anywhere.
Yeah, when I first printed them, I stuck them into the coupler and I shook it pretty hard, and it stayed in. So I'm pretty confident it won't fall out.
Oh,
And
very
what
nice.
size battery are you using to power that up with?
Right now, it's just hooked up to a 9
9
volt.
volt. Okay. And how much voltage could that handle? That light?
I'm not exactly sure.
Okay, I was just kind of curious.
Yeah, I don't remember what voltage lights they were. Do you know
What?
how much?
Those can go up to 24.
Okay, yeah, 24.
We'll just hand it up to
Oh
24.
wow!
Okay.
So you could actually run them on off a track power off a roller if you wanted to wire it up without any resistors or anything.
Yep. So the way he's selling it, tell him the way you're selling it.
So the way I'm going to be selling these is there's going to be two different options you can get. One option is you just get the Fred box like this with the wires just hanging off, and I'll include a bridge rectifier and a capacitor for wiring it up to track power. The other option is how I have it wired up here. So it'll be the actual Fred box here, wired up with a plug, so you can actually drill a hole in the bottom of your car if you want to have the battery inside, and then it'll have the other end of the plug, an on-off switch. I just have a on-off switch here. It'll be a small toggle switch, and then it'll also have a 9-volt battery connector. So
All right, and one of the main questions that I'm seeing already is people want to know where can they buy this, or you got people interested in it already.
I will be listing them on Facebook this week.
Okay, is this under your name, a store name, or are you opening up a store, or how are you doing this?
We're working on the Facebook page for our store, or you could email us at 4trackrr@gmail.com.
Okay.
On Facebook,
So-
it'll be listed under my dad's page.
That would be me.
So for those of you who are interested, and it looks like you did a nice job, and
Yeah.
look,
Yeah, that came out
it's a
really
pretty
nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, looks like it'll be pretty sturdy, and can't wait to see the one you make for the KD next.
And then the other thing we just got finished.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. He said we just got finished and he disappeared.
Yeah, so I heard a boom noise, so maybe their battery ran low.
I don't know.
Because I heard like a weird, like a noise like your phone's about to die or computer or whatever have you.
We'll give him a minute here.
Yeah.
If it completely disconnected, I would have think it would have dropped from the stream. Looks like maybe just the video dropped.
Oh, there you go.
All right.
We can hear you. We can't see you.
There you go.
There you
Yeah,
go.
there we are.
Sorry about that. A little technical difficulty.
Matt was wondering if you could put the link to his site in our description
Yeah.
where they can buy the
The email.
friend.
Yeah, the email is 4trackrr@gmail.com.
Yep,
And
I'll put that in
also-
the description.
Well, you don't have the Facebook your Facebook store up yet, do you?
No, we're working on that now.
Okay, so the only way they can get a hold of you is through the email.
Right now, yeah. We're working on the Facebook page and then, other things coming.
And how much is the Fred going for? They're asking. How much you going to sell it for there, Vincent?
The price has not been determined yet.
I thought you figured it out.
No, not yet.
Not yet? Okay. Soon.
$1 million.
No.
Much less than that.
Probably be in the $20 range.
Between $20 and $25,
Yeah.
most likely.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah. So it looks like you got a lot of people who are interested in buying it. So that's good.
Yes. Yes.
It's a nice little product, and I mean, he's been running it. He's been running the track power one on the back of one of his cars out here in on our little circle in the driveway, and really looks good.
How much
That's-
time would
that's,
you? How much time
that's
would you
for the-
say you have into making that, Vincent?
I mean, well, I started it before the last show, so a few months.
Well,
I've been working on it
no,
constantly.
no, I'm talking like continuous, like. I can't think of what I want to say. I don't know. Like if you worked on it back to back, would you say you got a week's worth of time on it, or
Yeah, like how many hours if you said you would work on it straight?
Probably about 2 days worth, I'd say.
Yeah, it's he had to go through a lot of prototypes to get it to fit right. You're
Okay.
basically tweaking and tweaking and tweaking and printing and tweaking and printing and tweaking until you
yeah, nothing comes out right the first time.
I don't care how many measurements you take, and then you also have to deal with there are certain differences in the
Oh, that's a good
printing. There are variations in printing, and there are it may be a little bit bigger in one direction and another, so you have to adjust it. So
Yeah. And Canadian Railroads has a good question for Vincent. He's asking, has there been any progress on the flying car?
There's been a lot of progress. If you want, I could show one.
Sure. I'd like to see that.
Yeah, don't make Dackman beg. He only does that on Friday nights.
So here's the chassis. I started painting them today, so this one's painted,
Oh, wow.
and then
that's a solid aluminum bar.
Nice.
I don't believe I had these done on for the last show. Here are the front steps.
And what are they made out of?
These are brass,
Brass. Wow.
and
So
then
you had to solder that all up, or
Yep.
yes, that was quite fun.
Oh wow!
And then here are the back two. I don't know what you'd really call them wings, I guess.
The wings. Yeah.
Yes, these are aluminum.
Nice.
Wow, you're putting a lot of work into that.
Yes.
He'll be happy when they're done and he can work on something else.
Oh yeah.
So he's working on this for him, but he's not going to sell these.
No, these are sold. These 3 are sold.
Oh, they are sold.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think
Is
last
it
time he said he wasn't making any more.
No, yeah. He's like, nope, not doing this again. Not until we get a true milling machine where he can easily mill the chassis and set up, easier setup. Right now, he did this on a
drill press.
A converted drill press, which was not the easiest thing.
Yeah, that's usually kind of a scary experience.
Yeah, it was not it was not fun. It didn't really didn't go as easily as we had hoped.
You had to go like a hair at a time, so it took forever to actually mill them down.
Well, chop. Get him a CNC mill, Nico. Mass production.
I'm working on it. And then the other thing we got done finally, or I should say, we got done. These are the lowering bolsters for the 2-bay Aristocraft covered hopper.
Oh.
So these will clip on. You're going to have to do some cutting on the floor. So actually I have here. So here is the existing floor. You're going to have to cut behind the bolster here. Oops, almost lost it. And behind the bolster here. And then this replaces the whole end of the car.
And that just screws. It just screws on then, right?
Yeah, you're going to have to drill 2 holes and drill that and screw that on, which will, I'm sorry. It will come with the screws. And then it also has the KD pads on there.
Oh, very nice.
You could do a G or 1 gauge KDs body mount. And then it also has, if you could see on the end there, those little tabs. So on the original car, there's nothing. No, that's not it. Oh. There's nothing holding the end of the car. And so if you body mount onto this, it's going to bend like almost like a truck coupler. Yes, 906s or 1906 couplers.
Oh, the 1 gauge couplers. Okay.
Yeah. So again, this locks into the end of the car. Here, actually, I have one on here. There we go. So you can see it locks onto the end of the car here. So it's sturdy and it doesn't move. Holds the car together.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
That came out really good.
So these were the first prototypes I did to get the height of the KD pad.
And how much are those?
Those are $18 a set. Also,
18 a set. That isn't bad.
And if you act now, no, I'm just kidding.
Act now. Wait, let me get my wallet.
And Kyle was asking Vincent if you set up your spine car for 906 KDs.
Yes, they have. They are set up for 906 KDs.
Okay.
Yeah, we figured out the height, and the customer that's getting these are using KD trucks on them. So we measured them up for the KD trucks, and everything lines straight up,
All right.
Come on, hurry up and get that store up so we can start giving you money.
Yes. Cody will be happy. My next project after this is going to be the FAs, the lowering kit.
Yeah, he's been asking about that forever.
Yep. And I'm going to get in touch with Colin to do the KD mounts for those. So we could possibly do a joint effort.
Oh, very nice.
And that is cool.
See if
it's going to be a East meets West kind of thing.
That's it. We're doing a transcontinental railroad again here.
And Mikey was asking, does that lowering kit you're offering also work on the 2-bay non-covered hopper car?
The non-covered,
those ones already have pads on them, actually.
Yeah, those 2 bays were the first ones I think they did with the KD pads.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I don't know, so I figured I'd ask the question.
Yeah, actually, I have one. And I opened it because I was checking it out for that reason. I'm like, oh, these already had it. And then I look back and I'm like, oh, yeah, these were the first ones they did with that.
Oh, apparently. Let's see, we got Ted watching here. What's he? Oh, about the provisioning you added for catching the end of the car.
Yeah. Ted's the one that works with Colin, isn't he?
Yeah, that guy right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Apparently, you've already been approved for collaboration.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to start that one. I actually bought, hold on a second here. So this is the last version of the Aristo chassis. With
For the FB?
Yeah. So this has the lowered, it's about an 80,000th indent, where the other one sticks out. It's got a protrusion that sticks out probably about 5/16 of an inch.
Oh, wow.
It's going to considerably lower these.
Yeah. And John was asking, any chance on anything for a USA Trains hopper?
Anything?
The USA Trains hoppers already have pads on them, I believe.
Yeah, it depends which one, but yeah, I could do, again, if there's something specific you guys want, just reach out to me, and I have no problem with it. I had a guy reach out to me this week about doing a firebox for a Pacific. So I'll be designing that up to make change the firebox on the Pacific.
Yeah, USA does have a pad on there. It's just not. I know this has truck mount on it, but let's see. Probably not gonna be able to see it real well, but
Not unless
it's not very evident that there's a pad there, but there are two screw holes for the KD box there.
He's asking for a lowering kit for
that. Who is?
John.
Oh.
Any chance of anything for a USA Trains hopper? I'll talk to you, John. Yeah, we'll figure out what you need and we'll get you there.
And I think what Mikey was saying when he was asking about for the 2-bay open hoppers for Aristo, he was asking because he said they ride too high apparently.
Oh, so you want a lowering kit then?
Yeah, I think that's what he was asking for.
I actually have one up here. I'll take a look at it. See if we can lower it any. I mean, some of it you got to look at the wheel clearance, so the wheels still pivot, and you don't hit things, don't run into each other.
Yeah, I get it.
Like on this, you have you have this part back here. So if you lower it too much, you're going to start dragging the wheels on here.
Yeah.
So you could see the try and get the right angle there. It's considerably lower when you look at it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Whenever I look at, I think I got 4 of them.
Yeah,
and they're sitting sky high.
Well, I send one over and we'll do it for you, and we'll videotape it. And
I got one that someone painted for me in Procore. I should send you that one.
Procore.
Yeah.
That's got to be Kyle.
Oh, man, you found that one out real quick.
Yeah, I think he made 3 of them in Procore. Wasn't there like 3 of those he made? Or
he did 4, I think, because he.
Oh, it was 4.
I know Charlie has one. I believe Jeremy has one. I have one, and Kyle has one. Is that right, Kyle? 4.
These don't glue in place, Kyle. These screw in. They have 2 little screw holes down here. You have to drill 2 little holes, and then the other end holds it in.
That end just clips. It doesn't actually have to screw into the car.
Yeah, it just clips on, and you could barely see it. That was my biggest fear with it, was that it'd be too obtrusive. But
no, I can't say I can complain about that.
It's better than the whole bottom of the car dropping out.
Yeah. I would have to agree with that.
So that's what we're working on. Again, like the FA is going to be the next one. We'll do the lowering kit for that, and then I'll get in touch with Ted and Colin and have them make the coupler mounts for that. We got to figure out how we'll sell it so it's not so customers don't have to buy it from two different places. I'll probably just ship him the lowering kits or whatever, and then he could sell them straight out.
Whichever way you guys work it out, I'll be down for a lowering kit on those, because I've got an ABA set here as well.
Yeah, I know Cody's been asking me for that for a little while.
Well, I know I think you made some stuff for him for those before, didn't you? When he got the newer motor blocks, you had to make him the adapters to put on there.
Yeah, I have those too, if anybody needs those. This is so the older motor blocks didn't have the wings on them. I'll pull one of these out here. Hold on. I had it double stick taped to it. So the old Aristocraft motor blocks didn't have these wings. You know, they were held in by the truck frame.
Yeah.
So then they added in here. So I know Colin sells this too. Sorry, Colin. He makes a little block that screws in here. But I just 3D print the whole thing.
Ah, okay.
And then that just drops on, and you put your 2 screws in from the bottom. So this is exactly what Aristocraft made when they made the new motor blocks. I was going to do the little block thing, but then I'm like, well, then people got to drill holes and screw it on or glue it in. And if the glue doesn't hold, so then I was just like, I'll just make the whole thing.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was looking at when he was trying to figure out how to do that at the time. And thankfully your solution was way easier than doing a lot of mathing.
Yeah. I just, well, I basically what I did is I just took one apart and copied the Aristo at the time. So I didn't have to do any mathing. But but it works out.
John's mom says hi. I wanted to make sure you knew.
Oh, good. Hi, Mom. She's a great lady. She always, when I was up in New Jersey and Poconos, she always came to the meeting, and her husband Bunk always came to the meeting too, but he's passed away. Unfortunately. Yeah. Great people.
All
right.
Nico Craft.
Nico Craft? Is that like Aristocraft?
Yeah.
Nico Craft, huh?
Yeah, I guess somebody wants to go into business as Nico Craft.
I've had a couple people tell me that recently. They're like, you know so much about Aristocraft and this and that. You really need to own your own train business. Maybe one day.
Yes, Kyle, I got that. You made 5. Kyle made 5 Procore 2-bay covered hoppers.
5.
Yeah.
Not 4.
No, he had to have 2 for himself apparently.
Oh.
So.
All right. So
you can't have any pudding unless you eat your meat. If you don't. Is there anything else I can? Any other questions anybody has about anything, or?
It looks like pretty much no other questions are being asked that's relevant to the subject. But Jim White says, "Good show, Nico."
We can give people a moment if they have a question. Our next show in 2 weeks on Saturday again. We're going to have another former New Jersey citizen. Harry Young is going to be our guest on that show, and we'll be taking a look at his layout that he's built over, I think the past 10 years maybe or so, and he's actually working on a couple of ideals right now because he'd like to do a how-to segment. So I really can't say what that's going to be at the moment. He's got a few things he's working out, but we will have some learning involved in the next show as well.
Good. Yeah, I mean, I like when people offer up their ideas and their suggestions on way to do things.
Yeah, no, when you said you were willing to do the electronics wiring stuff for the show, I was more than glad to do that, because
Yeah.
I've had multiple people asking me just for basic guidance on how to do that conversion.
Yeah, it's like I said, they're fun. I enjoy doing it. I like wiring things up. I like trying to figure out how to do things. I have a couple electrical engineer friends that I bounce ideas off of, and Vinny actually wants to work on what do you call it? Ditch lights.
Yes.
So we're going to do a ditch lights that stays on solid, and then when you blow the horn, it's going to take the input from the Revo, and because usually the lights only alternate when you blow the horn.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So when you blow the horn, the lights are going to alternate.
Someone was Cody was asking on the Freds, when are you going to have the KD version ones done?
If everything goes right, hopefully within a month or two.
A month or two? Okay.
We'll hold them to a month.
Hey.
Okay.
I got to keep him on, on target.
Very good. Yeah, I'm looking through the chat here. Everybody's saying it was a great show. They enjoyed what you had to offer, as did we as well.
Yes.
I even learned some new things.
Yeah, like I said, there's everybody's got their ways to do things. I know you put a guru thing in there, but I am not a guru on I know enough to be dangerous. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, there you
go. And I always said, with Vincent, I didn't have anybody to play trains with, so I made somebody. So,
Hey, sometimes you gotta make your own to get what you want, right?
Yeah, we enjoy it between the N scale, the G scale, and the ride on. We and then rail fanning. We're always Vinny has his channel. Why don't you plug your channel again?
My YouTube channel is NSNJ Railfan. I post videos, not very regularly, but
I'm pretty certain I do have that in the description of the show, because I still had that from the last time.
And hopefully this year we could get to some shows and get to see everybody again. I know the large scale show's been floundering over there with a date.
Oh yeah.
But hopefully next year everything's back to normal and we could all get back together and enjoy our hobby again.
Yeah, I pretty much almost gave up on the show happening this year.
Well, we're giving up on that show, but we think we're going to head to RLD for the open house.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, just to get out.
Yeah. How about the National Garden Railway Convention, the NGRC?
I don't know about that yet. I got to look at schedules and time, and I've only been down here and at my new job a year. I don't want to press my luck.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah, I get it.
Thank you, Ted. Yeah, I look forward to meeting some more people and getting out to the shows again. And
oh yeah,
I
can't wait for shows to start myself. Oh,
the East Coast show is not only to go to be there with the trains and everything, but we get together with people we only see once a year.
Right.
Like Ivor. Ivor we only see every at the show.
Yeah. I think that's the thing I enjoy the most about the shows is just the people.
Yeah. I think when we hang out by we used to hang out by the pool after the show and just hang out and talk and have a good time, you know?
Yeah, I know there was of course the show that was down at Entertainment in Cincinnati this weekend, and the couple of people I talked to said that was a really good show. There was a lot of people there,
That's
and
good.
I actually missed one that was like 20 minutes away from me today. I don't know how I did that, but I guess that one, the people that went to that, the parking lot was packed. Everybody was there ready to go.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, we miss it. We're constantly like, oh, I just want to go to a train show.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
Yeah. Actually, I think you have one in New Jersey tomorrow, don't you, Sean?
I do.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I saw there was one in New Jersey tomorrow.
It must be some small town one because I don't know about a one in New Jersey.
I'm going to have to look and see where I saw that at now. I'm pretty sure it was in one of the groups that someone mentioned there was a show in New Jersey, I thought, tomorrow.
Well, if it is, I'm sure it's small and it's going to be outside. So
That's all right. You'll find out how great it was after you don't go, Sean.
yeah,
All the good deals you miss.
yeah, because I know the Greenberg shows probably are not going to resume until like May, after May, from what I'm understanding.
Oh, somebody just replied. It's Kutztown.
Kutztown.
Yeah, next Saturday.
Oh, next Saturday?
Yeah.
See that,
Okay.
Andrew? You got your days wrong again.
You know. I mean, you know, I'm still working from home, so when I don't leave the house, you know, I don't know what day it is anymore.
Don't you have
You
a
know?
calendar?
What do I need that for?
Calendar.
Who has those anymore? No.
It's definitely been an interesting year.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Well,
All right.
Hopefully we'll get back to it. So
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. But if there's no other questions because I don't see anything else coming up. I don't know how much longer you guys want to stay on because I know our show's usually an hour and a half. Andrew.
Yeah. I mean, if we got nothing else to go over, I don't really see any new questions coming in.
Again, if you have questions, you know, feel free to email me or you know, whatever. I'm on Facebook also. Send me a message. I've always answered questions for people. You know, I have no problem helping anybody out. So,
someone actually did have a question.
Okay, cool.
Is there a manufacturer you wouldn't connect to? You mean like an engine? Or you mean like a? I mean, I put them in everything. I put them in Bachmann, you know, Aristocraft, Lionel.
The only thing I can think of, if the question is exactly what he's asking, is I know there's some things sometimes you have to watch out for the pulse width that's in those. Like for instance, not that too many people are going to do it, but if you have one of the Lionel Atlantics that came with the factory sound in it in G scale, I believe the pulse width will actually destroy that sound system.
Yeah, well, you could use he said like LGB. Yeah, you could put it in LGB. Yeah. Again, it's not going to work with the DCC system. You know, a lot of people pull those systems out and then just put the Revo system in. Again, it depends what you want to do and what you know, in essence, what floats your boat. You know, what you want to get out of it. A DCC system is going to have a lot more bells and whistles than a Revo, but you know, again, for me, it does what I want it to do, and I have it in almost every engine I have, and eventually, you know, it will be in every engine I have.
It looks like he's asking about LGB. Have you installed that in the LGB?
Thanks for waking up, Sean.
Did you fall asleep, Sean?
No, I was actually online researching something else.
We need to get you a second monitor, Sean.
Probably. I probably could use one.
Yeah, like John did. I have Atlantic. I gutted everything. I put this smoke unit in most of my engines, the SD45 smoke unit. I mean, I have this in my Bachmann Shea, my Bachmann Climax. I have it in my Atlantic, the 040.
Oh, okay.
I like them to smoke. Some people don't like smoke. I like them smoking.
My only issue with the smoke units is inevitably, if I put smoke fluid in it, that's about the time something goes wrong, and now I need to turn it upside down to take something off, and now it's full of smoke fluid. It never fails.
Yeah.
I could run that thing with no smoke fluid in it forever. I decide, hey, I want to run that smoke unit, put some smoke fluid in there. Now I got to turn it upside down every time.
Well, get a syringe, and you can suck it out.
Yeah. Which I think most of the smoke fluid doesn't. Well, I imagine it's probably not great to get it on the paint on your locomotive, but most of the stuff they make isn't too terrible. Like, it's not going to strip the paint off if it gets on there, is it?
No. How much
Train wreck.
runtime does it going to take up? I don't. When I'm using a battery, I won't run smoke.
Oh, okay.
Fried bacon, smelly smoke fluid.
That sounds like something Mark Oles would use. Bacon scented smoke fluid.
We had gotten a hot chocolate. It smelled so good.
Ooh, that does sound good.
Every time we would run the train, like, oh, we want hot chocolate.
Yeah, I think the scented smoke fluids came out of necessity from angry people that didn't like their houses smelling like a hobby shop.
Yeah. Well, it does get I mean, some of them get stinky. My wife's got a sensitivity to the smell, and if we have it too much in the house, it's too much, So we try to do that outside only.
Oh, didn't realize I clicked on John's thing there, but yes, I know John likes his MTH smoke units.
They do smoke well. They're a little more expensive. I get these. A lot of people tear them out of their engines because they don't, especially guys that run a battery, don't use smoke units. So they pull them out. So I usually pick them up, $20, $30, $40, wherever I can find them. Or if I buy in bulk, somebody's got 10 or 20 of them, I'll buy them. I don't have a garden pole. Tori asked about I just moved. I had a 60-foot by 90-foot layout at my last house. Elevated that ran into the basement. I just moved from New Jersey to Virginia for work. So at current time, I do not have a layout. Sean's seen my layout.
Oh, yeah. It was pretty nice.
I have a video on my YouTube channel of I put the camera on the train and it goes around the layout.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Missed that layout, but next one will be even better.
I have to ask how much, I haven't had to go through that yet. How much work was it to actually take your layout out?
I just pulled the track out and left everything else.
Oh, okay.
It's, you really look at it and it takes you hours and hours and hours to build it. And it takes, you have days upon days of building the layout. And in 2 hours, it doesn't even look like the tracks were there anymore. It looks like abandoned.
Yeah. And for those who are interested, I do have a video of his layout when I did visit there.
Yeah, that was the first year we had the open house at my house.
Yes.
So there are a couple of videos on YouTube. If you search Pocono Mountain Garden Railway Society, there was a couple different videos at my house. And then, like I said, Vinny has a couple running around the layout if you search his YouTube channel. But yeah, it was 60 foot by 90 foot. It was L shaped. Had a 2,000 gallon koi pond, and it ran into the basement.
My favorite part about the pond was you had I don't know if it was a boxcar or a caboose down, like it fell off the track.
Yeah.
A boxcar, like it fell off the track and fell down into the pond.
Yeah.
I thought that was a cool touch. I like that.
Yeah. Hey, little details, it's little things that that when people are walking around a layout and see different things, and that's what's great about I like going to layouts and seeing those different little touches and little details,
Yeah.
that people do, and it's the little personal touches that make them interesting.
Right, yeah, because it's not like every layout's the same. That's why the NGRC is so popular, because everybody puts their own touch, their own spin, their own theme on everything.
Yeah. I mean, I always like the ones on the ground. I'm not partial to the elevated layouts. That the one thing that always drew me to G scale was it was like really like a real railroad. You're dealing with floating rail bed and the terrain changing and weather. Yeah. I mean, running in the snow, running in, all different weather.
I mean, I can see the benefits of the elevated, but my problem is when you elevate it, it's got that much farther to fall when it derails. It's what worries me.
Yeah. Well, I had mine was elevated. It was about, at some parts it was about 1.5 to 2 feet high, and then it got a little higher at points. I brought in 10 truckloads of dirt, 10 triaxles.
Dang.
Wow.
Thanks, Dave. Yes, that was for the company that I used to work for.
Yeah, I think you showed that to us on your last show, didn't you?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that the A-B unit and a bunch of cars, a caboose, custom truck.
You brought that to a train show. I think I got that on video too.
Yeah, I brought that to York once.
Was it pulling jelly beans, Sean?
No, that one wasn't.
Nico was being stingy with his jelly beans.
I just wanted to keep Sean away from them. They were for the kids, and Sean's over there eating them like.
He thought it was part of the green room experience because he was there filming,
Yeah. Oh, look, beer and jelly beans.
Yep, here he is eating them away like this.
That wasn't my car, by the way. That was Glenn and Marianne did that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, we can keep you awake, Sean. We'll just give you a big bag of jelly beans at the beginning of the show. If you're sitting there chomping on those,
Sugar rush.
Yeah,
It'll be shaking by the end of
Sean, I think your camera's moving around. No, that's not the camera.
But yeah, like I said, we're looking forward to. Right now, we're renting a house because we just moved down here. We weren't sure where we want to buy, or we're not familiar with the area, so we're trying to get familiarized, and then hopefully buy a house. Garden railway, ride on trains.
Ride on trains. Oh boy.
Yep, I'm hooked on. I never liked the live steam G scale. Just I don't know, didn't float my boat. But we went to a gentleman's house that part of a club we're down here part of, and he let me run his which one was that? The 040. The one guy has an 040 that looks like the Aristocraft, little 040, and the other guy's got a Mogul and a Shea, and they let us run the live steam, and it's fun.
and that's the 7.5 inch gauge.
7.5 inch, yeah.
I saw a video some time ago. Someone that had a C&O Allegheny in 7.5 inch.
Huge.
Oh yeah, and it ran off of propane.
Yeah,
Is it-
some of the guys have. There's one guy there that has a propane fired. I mean, it's like a barbecue grill, and he's got the tank behind him, and then the thing goes up, and then the other guys run off of coal. They're actually burning coal. So you're sitting in. You actually have to shovel the coal in, watch the water level, make sure you have steam. It's
Make sure it doesn't blow up.
Yeah, make sure it does. Make sure you don't run it out of steam, and it's hilly too. His property's not flat, so you're going downhill. You got to use the brakes, and then you got to go back uphill. You got to make sure you have the steam. It's fun.
They definitely keep you entertained.
Yeah, well, it keeps you busy. It's not you're not just sitting there, because the guy also has a -9 in 7.5-inch gauge. And that's fun. It's fun to run and drive around, but it's, you just kind of sit there and it goes, or you have the battery powered ones and you sit there and it goes. But the live steam is definitely, it keeps you on your feet, keeps you on your toes, watching all the gauges, and it's like running. I mean, it really is like running a real live steam engine.
I'm trying to think. It was probably a couple excursion railroads that do it, but I think the Western Maryland Scenic, when they had their 280 running, was actually doing at the throttle, where you could I don't know what it cost, but you could actually learn how to operate the locomotive.
I think 611 was doing that at Strasburg.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they were doing it there.
475.
Yeah, 611 and 475. I think it was about $600.
It was $611 to operate 611.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I don't remember. You basically went down the track a little bit and then went back, and it was good.
Oh, Kyle said Charlie did that over at Strasburg.
Yeah, he was there. I think the weekend before we went down on 611. 2:30 a.m. in the UK. Oh my goodness!
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, that's what 2:30 on the 21st. So he's talking to us from the future.
Taya, hope to drive up to Richmond soon to meet you. Oh, great. Yeah, let me know. I'll meet you up with you.
She's with the Big Train Operators Club, isn't she?
Yeah, when I moved down, I contacted them, and I'm part of their Facebook group. And again, because of the COVID, they haven't really had. I think they had one meeting that I know of, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to go that weekend. But I hope to meet all of them and get down there, because I'm only about from Virginia Beach. I'm about an hour away, hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, because normally I see her at all the major, G scale shows or meets or whatever.
Yeah.
She actually when we went over to the East Coast show last year that got canceled, I bumped into her when the elevator started smoking and tripped the fire alarm at like midnight, and we were standing outside in the cold waiting for the fire department to tell us we could go back in.
That sounds like a good weekend.
Yeah, it's like, hey, finally running into you here.
Yeah, good times. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting back, to the shows and seeing everybody again. And Trader Kyle's calling me a traitor. Well, you guys kicked me out of the club, so. They took over my club, kicked me out, John and Kyle. Let's get on a call tomorrow. Sure. Let me know what time.
There you go.
Zoom.
All right.
Yeah. I had to think what a Zoom call was for a minute.
We're bumping up on 2 hours there, Andrew.
Yeah,
all righty.
I know we can keep talking trains all night, so.
Yeah. All right,
Thanks again for having us on.
Yep. it was great having you back on the show again. Glad that you came aboard and showed us how to do a basic install.
Yeah.
And it seems that everybody seems to be excited over Vincent's new Fred. And they're looking forward to the Fred for the KD couplers. So Andrew put the link in for the email to contact them for right now. He gets the store set up. So wishing you all a good night. Thank you everybody for coming aboard and watching our show. And stay safe. And do you have anything you want to say there, Andrew?
Nope. We'll see you on Saturday in 2 weeks, 8:30.
There you go. All right, everybody. Have a good night.
Thanks
Good night,
again,
everyone.
Thanks again, everybody.